So, and what's wrong with being idle? The problem, of course, is where's your income going to come from?
So Michael, taking a look at robots and employment, do you think we'll get to a point where robots actually destroy jobs?
That's a good question. Yes and no. To a certain extent, they do destroy jobs. But isn't that a good thing? Especially all the rotten jobs that people do. So that's where robots can come in. The discussion today is much more, do robots destroy all jobs? Well, will they destroy our jobs? Pretty unlikely, unless humans want to see robots interviewing each other. It would be pretty boring, I don't think. But let's go back a little bit, because this idea of robots, it's really technological change, technological progress. And 200 years ago, in, we got it right, 17th century, there was a chap called Ned Ludd. And he was considered to be a half-wit, not very bright. And what he did, he led a movement to wreck machines, cotton-making machines, because he thought they were destroying jobs. So even over 200 years ago, people were worried about machines destroying jobs. And it so happens that that movement, named after Ned Ludd, is called Luddism, or you're a Luddite if you think that. So the question you just asked me was a Luddite question.
And the UK Shadow Chancellor has spoken out in favour of a basic income. And interestingly, Switzerland was against this. But would this help with robots actually coming into the workplace?
Yeah, down the road, probably. It so happens that my best friend, Professor Guy Standing, is chair of the Basic Income Research Group. And he's been chair for this for about 20 years. And it's right across the world. So he's been promoting that. He's also behind a little bit the work that went on in Switzerland yesterday, where there was a vote for basic income for everybody in Switzerland, and to be paid 2,500 Swiss francs a month. Well, a lot of people were in favor of that, but only 25% in Switzerland, 75% against. In Geneva, here in Geneva, were 35% in favor. But the big problem, of course, is the cost. I'd worked out in Switzerland it would cost something like 70 billion Swiss francs a year. Well, that means nothing to you or me, but it's probably twice the GDP of Switzerland. In England, MacDonald, the shadow chancellor of the Exchequer in Britain, which is kind of the next finance minister if his party ever gets in, came out yesterday in favour of a basic income in Britain. I like this fellow. I've actually been on a panel with him and we got on famously. I couldn't say we totally agreed, and I certainly don't agree on this, because it would cost something like 700 billion pounds. Now, if you think that the American defence costs 500 billion, and that covers the whole world, and it's considered to be the biggest in the world, and is the biggest in the world, then a basic income in Britain would cost 50% more than the American military. Now, so therefore the figures today are against it. 1830, the famous British mathematician and philosopher Bertrand Russell wrote a great article called In Praise of Idleness, which is, what's wrong in having machines going down the coal mines, sweeping floors and the rest of it? Why should we be against that? Why should we carry on being stupid? Let's be clever and use that intelligently. So, and what's wrong with being idle? The problem, of course, is where's your income going to come from? This is why people are saying basic income, but I think that's gone too far. Perhaps in 100, 200 years' time, when our income will be much, much higher than it is today, and we will be able to afford that. But right now, I don't think, except perhaps one or two smaller countries, could afford that.
And Michael, you've come in before and spoken about corporate social responsibility and sustainability. You've brought your book with you here today. So will this create new jobs for...
So I have!
So do you think this will create new jobs for sustainability?
Most definitely, yes. Can I give you a technical equation?
Of course you can.
It's called the Keynes equation, that output is equal to consumption, public and private, plus investment, public and private, plus exports minus imports. I don't think you got that, but anyway. But each of those, if you analyze them in the future, are going to change. Investment is going to be much more in socially responsible investment. So there's going to be new jobs there for investment analysts, especially those who are socially responsible. In fact, it's the fastest growing part of investment. Consumption. What does it mean? What we eat. Well, we want to know how it's being made. We want to know there's fair trade. We want to know that children are not being exploited. But that means different types of jobs. And exports. Export markets, well, when we export things, we've got to make sure they're not going to damage people who buy them. I mean, this seems obvious, but not so long ago it was easy to find lead in exports. And the same with imports. We need to make sure that they've been produced with a living wage, in sustainable conditions, which are not damaging the environment and so on. All these will create new jobs, but different types of jobs.
Fantastic. Well, Michael, thank you so much for coming in once again and sharing your insights with us.
Thanks a lot. Nice to be here.
Well, that's all from myself and Michael, but if you like this video, like and comment on dugoscopy.tv. Goodbye for now.